Hi everyone, my name is Evelyn U, and for my art analysis, the piece that I chose from Malaquia Montoya's gallery was this print called La Nueva Raza. So upon looking into this series of prints, which this particular piece belongs to, I noticed that they all had a TWLF in the corner, which stands for Third World Liberation Strikes. I learned that these protests took place in 1968 around California's Bay Area, on the campus of UC Berkeley and San Francisco State to be exact, where a lot of ethnic students driving from different backgrounds protested for the schools to make a change and include more diversity to the curriculum, as it was mainly based around Eurocentric history and principles at the time. This ultimately resulted in the creation of what we now know as ethnic studies. So knowing that background, I could get a deeper sense of what the artwork was trying to convey. As we see, the print shows the outline of a baby, maybe even a newborn, being lifted up into the air by a pair of arms. These arms have shackles around them with the words La Nueva Raza titled in the print. I honestly think this print is a great example of identity, resistance, and community. La Nueva Raza, translated, means the new race. However, it is important to note that race in this context doesn't actually mean like the American definition, which we use to put people into different groups. Mexicans have used the term raza to refer to our own group of people for the longest time. It's sort of an endearment term, if that makes sense. Like when we're referring to anyone that's of Mexican descent, doesn't matter if you're first generation, second generation, and so on. Having that in mind, this title, I think, refers to the new generation of us. So the Third World Liberation Strikes were led by the new generation, portrayed by the baby in this print, I would say. We want our history and our background to be a part of the school's curriculum so that people can be taught about it and acknowledge us. That past includes hundreds of years of racial persecution, of being discriminated against, and even slavery, which I think is what's being portrayed with the arms in the shackles in this print. Our past makes up our identity, our values, who we are, but that doesn't mean that we don't belong in spaces such as a university. La Nueva Raza refers to Third World Liberation Strikes, and our whole culture as Chicanos, we should acknowledge our history and our identities, and as the newer generation move forward and succeed as Mexican Americans in the U.S. We can trace this back to some of the things that we've learned in this course so far, like Maria Hurtado's workshop, Cargas and Regalos, which talks about how Chicanos have that struggle growing up from coming from another country and having our parents raise us with values very different from the country that we're actually living in and navigating through. As for Esclachismo, I think it sort of is similar to the definition of Chicano in a sense. It's an attitude of what it means to be those living in a world where we don't have privilege, so we take what is given to us and turn it into something else, something more, all while keeping our heritage in mind. La Nueva Raza embodies Rascuachismo in the sense that we take our identity and want to apply it to any aspects of our lives. In this case, the TWLF protesters wanted it to be applied to the school curriculum, to make it so that our past is integrated into the history that is being taught throughout higher education, and therefore acknowledged to the extent that it deserves.